everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you a few of my current favorites. They're just random things that I've been using lately and have been loving and reaching for. I usually drink coffee in the mornings, and in the evenings before going to bed I usually like to drink tea, preferably caffeine free. And I've always loved mint tea, like peppermint. In the summer I have my own mint growing in the garden, so I'll use that one. But not long ago I was at Target and I decided to pick up some peppermint tea. This one is caffeine free, and I usually just like to make a cup before bed, and it kind of helps me go to sleep, kind of like relaxes me. I ran out of the other one, so I ended up picking up this one, and I really enjoy this one as well. So one of my goals this year was to try to read more books. I do watch a lot of videos online, but I kind of like having like a paper book. You can underline, highlight things that stick out to you, and even reread them after a while. A couple of the books that I ordered were The Magnolia Story and Business Boutique. I absolutely love both of these books. I already read this one and I feel like I could read it over and over. It was just so good, so inspirational. And this Business Boutique, I think I'm only on like chapter 3 or 4, but I absolutely love it as well. It's, like I said, they're just very encouraging. Reading these books just help reassure me that I'm not the only one who feels a certain way. For example, the Business Boutique, it talks in there about fear. A lot of people are scared of starting, and I always thought it was just me. You know, you have this idea in mind and you're like, I don't think I'm good enough for it. There's so many people out there doing the same thing, or what's going to make me stand out. Just reading it, like I said, I'm only at chapter 4. I'll read you a couple of things I highlighted, and they're just so good, and I'll just share a couple with you. So one thing I was reading in here is, you don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. And that's so true, because so many times, I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who feel the same way, you almost put yourself down and feel like you're not good enough, or you know, you're not educated enough. And then there's days when I'm like, okay, you know, if that person can do it, maybe I can do it. And there's still that self-doubt and that fear of failure, but I always say you'll never know until you try it. And it's obviously easier said than done. Reading books like this or listening to podcasts just really help motivate me and realize that I'm not the only one that feels that way, and helps me kind of just to keep going, keep pushing, even on the bad days where I'm like, okay, you know what, this isn't working, I'm done. It just encourages me to keep going and keep trying. Another line from the book says, you can't succeed unless you fail along the way. And that is so true. I feel like that's the way you learn, is by failing. You either can just stop and be like, you know what, it didn't work, I'm done. Or you can figure out why it didn't work and just get stronger and just learn from your mistakes, or like people say, it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. Once we realize that fear is normal, then we don't have to wait until we aren't scared to do the things we want to do. We just do it scared. And like I said, just reading this made me realize that I'm not the only one that feels this way. Because some days I'm just like, am I the only one that has these thoughts? Is everyone else just so confident that they just do it and succeed? But like I said, reading these types of books really help encourage me. Magnolia Story, Chip and Joanna Gaines, I watched the Fixer Upper show, especially before we bought our house. I just got so many ideas. I love watching like home renovating shows. And they were just such a good example of like a family and a couple. And in there, Joanna Gaines writes about their failures along the way and how she started up her whole business. They started off so small and just kind of risked a lot of things, but they ended up doing it anyway, and they pushed through, and how her and her husband were just so encouraging towards each other. I feel like that's so important in marriage too. My husband is always so encouraging and so supportive if there's anything I want to do. It's so nice having a partner or a friend that's really encouraging. And those days when you do feel down and you do feel like you can't do it, or it's just not working, to have someone encourage you to just keep going and remind you why you're doing what you're doing. Another thing I've been using and loving are these cotton rounds. I've used so many different types, and a lot of times I realized those little fuzzies or the cotton kind of stays on your face. And I really hate that, especially because I wear contacts, and I feel like when I'm cleaning my eye makeup off, if I get any of those fuzzies in my eye, it just really bothers me with my contacts in. So I found these randomly at actually a grocery store. Here's Teeter. I don't know, I'm sure they sell them in other spots, but I feel like that's the only place I could find them. I think I ran out and I was like, okay, I need some. And I saw these. They're a little bit more expensive than regular ones. These are great. I use these to take off my makeup. I'll show you in a second what I use to take off my makeup. I also use these when I apply my toner on my face. I love using these, and I don't get those little cotton fuzzies left all over my face. I use this micellar cleansing water. As you can see, I'm almost out. I love this just because it doesn't sting my eyes. It doesn't leave my skin all dried out, or it's not too oily. It's just perfect. And this is basically the only thing I use unless I'm using like a makeup remover wipe. In the summer, I usually have pretty oily skin. In the winter, it gets kind of dry. So I ordered this jojoba oil. I don't know if that's how you say it, jojoba, on Amazon. It was random. I was just scrolling through current items or something, and this popped up. You can use this for your hair, you can use this for your skin, you can use this as a makeup remover. After I'm done cleansing my face, I like to mix a little bit of this in with my face lotion, and it just helps moisturize it a little bit more, but without leaving it like super oily or like that greasy face feeling. I've been looking for a good dry shampoo for a little while now. I've gone through quite a few of them, and I mean, they were okay, but they weren't like great. And I saw a lot of people using this Living Proof dry shampoo, and I got great reviews. So I ordered this on Amazon as well, and I love it. It smells good, and it's not too strong or too sweet. It's like the perfect smell. It makes it seem like you just washed your hair. It does the job. It does have a little bit of a white residue, but what I like to do is, I mean, it says it on here too, you spray it, wait a little bit, and then you kind of rub it in and it disappears. So if you're on the hunt for a dry shampoo, I recommend that you try this one out. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I get the BoxyCharm every month. And I like it just because I get new products every month. I get to try new things out without spending too much money. So I've recently been loving this Pure eyeshadow palette. It looks like this inside. They're just very nice neutral shades, and it's just something that I use every day. I have so many other palettes, but I feel like this one has all the shades that I need. It has the light ones, the transition shades, dark tones. It has some shimmer shades in there. And anytime I'm in a rush, or basically every day, I end up reaching for this palette. And I like that it's not too big. It's so easy to travel with. You're not taking 5 different palettes because you like the shade in here, one shade's in there. This one, I feel like, has everything I need. If I want a pop of color or something, obviously I'll have to reach for something else. But for my everyday makeup look, I always reach for this palette. Another thing I got in the BoxyCharm is this Vintage Illuminating Face Highlighter Set. It has 2 different shades of highlighters in there. So one is Rose Quartz and Chocolate Diamond. What I usually do is I'll mix the both. And I use this as a highlighter. I use this as a shimmer shade on my lid and as like a brow bone highlight. And it's nice to travel with because it kind of has multiple uses, and it has really nice packaging. So I got this New Me curling wand maybe 2 years ago, and I absolutely love it. So it heats up super quick. I can curl my hair really fast just because it does heat up quick, and it has different heat settings, which is great just because I don't like to use too much heat on my hair. And I could curl my hair in like 5 minutes, especially if I'm in a rush. Another random favorite, I forgot who showed me this or where I saw this, but this coffee creamer. So it is almond milk creamer, all natural, non-dairy. I like to get the caramel flavor, and it is so good. So before, I used to, this is a couple of years back, I was so bad about drinking sweet coffee. Like, I would put 2 spoons of sugar and like the sweetest creamer. Just thinking about it like makes me cringe. Like, it was super sweet. It was basically like drinking creamer and not coffee. And little by little, obviously I started to realize that's not good. And I tried to cut back on sugar and creamer and just kind of wean myself off of that really sweet tasting coffee. And I still can't drink black coffee, but I've gotten to the point where I don't use any sugar at all, and I just use a little bit of this creamer. And it gives it a little bit of like sweetness, but it doesn't make it like super sweet. I love that it doesn't have as many ingredients as some of the other creamers do. It still has a couple in there, which I'm like, you know, not the greatest. But compared to what I used to use, this is so much better. It still tastes great, but it's not as horrible as some of the other creamers. Another thing I've been loving is getting the SNS Dip nails. So I have it on right now. I'm not going to show you because they're grown out and I need to get them done. But I've been getting it done for quite a while now. I used to get acrylics because my nails are horrible. I've tried growing them out so many times, but they just, it seems like, oh, they're almost there, but they'll chip or they'll start peeling and they always break and I can never grow them out. So that's why I would usually get the acrylics with the tips, so, you know, make them a little bit longer. I liked having them done, but I hated having those terrible looking nails after I got them taken off. What it is just kind of like a dip powder, kind of like it sounds, almost looks like an acrylic powder. And they just have different colors. And you can put it right on your regular nail. So that's how I grew my own nails out. It got to a point where my real nails were so long and I was shocked. Like, I kept looking at them, not believing that those were my nails. I've never grown my nails out so long without having them break. Whenever I get the powder taken off, I don't have those really thin, terrible looking nails like I did with the acrylic. So I would recommend that for you if you're trying to grow your nails out. And a lot of people say, oh, try the gel. I've tried the gel so many times and that was like a joke. A couple of days would go by and I'd wash the dishes a few times and it would just peel right off. Like I could just peel the gel polish right off my nails. So it never helped grow them out. It really didn't do much for me. And maybe it works for you, which is great. Maybe my nails are just different. But this SNS powder was like the only thing that worked for me and helped me grow my own nails out so I didn't have to keep getting the tips put on my actual nails. I think that is pretty much it for my random favorites. Let me know down in the comments if any of these are your favorites or what some of your favorites are. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you all next time.